DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
It's time for Tuesday Night Live Chat with Brian S. Red and John Young. Good evening to the second show on Tuesday night. Tonight's reading will be from the book. What book are we talking about tonight? Crap.
I don't know.
I thought we had a book. Isn't this book?
The book, like they throw the book at you.
Book club night. We were supposed to be, Ben was motivational and inspirational. We were supposed to be intellectual. Isn't that how it works?
All right.
Oh, yeah, Well, okay, so we'll go to plan B.
Right.
Let's talk gigs.
Yeah.
We've been it's been kind of a busy fall so far for both of us.
Yes.
You've been out doing some stuff.
I had last weekend off, and I was glad I did because I was burnt. I was just spent.
And before we get to the type of events, that's actually an interesting thing that you shared that, because we did a few weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Is it because we're older or because we don't DJ as often? It seems that, after I've done a few weeks, it's like, oh my gosh, how can I? You get that weekend off, and you're like, how did I manage to do this those last 4 weekends, type of thing?
Yeah.
Is it me, or is this just a sign of we're not 20 anymore?
Well, I think when you think about what we actually do, it's not like the old days. And this is something I've been writing about this for my keynote for the mobile DJ meetup in, like, I don't know, 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I used to show up and load in and set up and play music and then break down and load out and go home.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what happens anymore. There's all these other things I'm doing, and those things can wear on you, especially, the mental alone, trying to process all this stuff and keep it straight with the timelines and the rehearsals and the ceremonies and the names and all of these. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, that to me is exhausting. It's the prep. It's all of those things. It's just kind of, it's a lot of work. It's for anybody. I don't care how old you are. It's a lot of work. I think.
I think it's more that the mental side of it has changed now, and I don't know if it's because of clients asking for more, or because of us networking and talking to other DJs and seeing other people doing these different things, that we've added more stress onto ourselves to be able to offer and provide some of these services.
Well, no one else is doing it. I've said this before. We're kind of the customer service desk of the events industry. Because if there's anything that comes up, they just, we'll just throw it to DJ. DJ will take care of it.
True story.
Just like the courtesy counter at your local grocery store. That used to be where, I don't know, you returned items and maybe cashed a check. Now it's lottery tickets. It's where you get cigarettes. It's probably where you bank half of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's the complaints department. It's probably HR. It's everything. It's just all this crap just keeps getting piled into this one area. We are that area, and we've been that area for a long time. And the good news, I feel, if you think about it, John, it should make us more valuable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it always does in everybody's market. You hear a lot of people complaining about price and underbidding and all that stuff. But if you're really doing all of these things, and if you're that valuable and you are really kind of the go-to for events, you would think it would make us more valuable, and it has me. I'm making more money than I did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a lot busier than I was, and I'm more tired than I was, but I'm making more money.
And that obviously is a nice little side part of it, but that responsibility thing and how we have taken more of that, I could actually see, because a couple of weekends I had my maybe 19-year-old son my college student. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
He did his, I think it was his third wedding that he has done. He hasn't done a DJ event for a couple of years, but he had a family who knew a little bit, and they're like, hey, can he come?
I remember you were talking about that.
Yeah, and Brandon went and he did it, and they had an absolute great time with it. But some of the things that initially they wanted just this
straight up.
And just to basically play our first dance. If you could announce our first dance and play that, we'll be good. And then the rest of it is just basically background party type stuff for the rest of the night.
Right.
No problem. He can handle that. Well, then as they continued on, and it was they were throwing more things, and for someone like yourself or myself, whatever. What do you want to do? Okay, we'll do it, and it's going to happen. Well, in Brandon's situation, he's like, well, I've never done that before. How would I go about doing that? Well, let's take it apart, break it down, script it out, and we're going to practice it, and then we'll throw a couple of scenarios and go that route. It's just that tendency to just say, hey, let's just do this.
Right.
We've seen this before. Let's try this, and I think that just throwing things on our lap and expecting it to fly at a high, with a high level of success is. I don't know if that's just become the assumed thing that it can happen with all DJs, or if it's something that I don't know how it has evolved to that. Because back in our early days, that didn't happen until it would be our first dance, and we're going to do first dance, wedding party dance, because father, daughter, mother, son dances didn't exist back in the day. First dance, wedding party dance, and then we're going to do a dollar dance, and we're going to auction off the garter and a bouquet later tonight. That was it. There was our wedding planner right there. Oh, and did you want to pick your first dance song? Oh, you could do that too. That was it. None of the other stuff. And they didn't come up the day of and say, I've got this bridesmaid, and we should really do something fun with her. Could we do? Those things didn't exist.
It's changed. It's changed so much. I mean, jeez. Okay, my last wedding was. I talked about it last week a little bit. My daughter was with me. We did a show, and honestly, that was last week. I can't remember what happened, but what I can tell you is that the weekend before we did the show, I did this one wedding where I ended up wearing a lot of hats. I directed the wedding ceremony rehearsal, and I was there kind of getting everybody organized for the ceremony. And I remember I'm doing all this work. I'm trying to explain all this stuff to people, and I'm trying to make sure they're good with it. Hey, do we need to run through it again? Okay, let's do it one more time. How about a third time? Okay, we're good. And then it comes to, okay, I'll line everybody up. Okay, now I'm going to go play the music and just listen for your cues. You mean you're not going to be here to tell us when to come out? No. I have to DJ this thing.
Yes, I've got to be.
This is really who I am. I'm the DJ. I just tried to give you some coaching along the way here and tried to help you, with this. I'm sorry if you were too drunk last night to really hear me or whatever, but you're on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You're on your own. I can't act for you. I can direct, but I can't act. You have to do the acting. So, yeah, it was a lot of work. I ended up being there, I think, for 2.5 hours on the night of the rehearsal. And that was just to get everybody organized together. And some people were late and all that.
Sure.
Then the next day I was there by, I think, 12:30. Ceremony started at 2. I was busy before the ceremony. And then it was cocktails in another room with another system. And then it was dinner with speeches and toasts and all that. Plus, I had a musician. And then it was going back into the main hall to have the actual reception that went until midnight. And they beat a dead horse on that. We could have ended that at 11.
Yeah.
But they insisted that we stay until midnight. And they were having fun, but there were only about 15 of them.
Sure. Yep.
It would have been nice if they would have left. But they didn't. And they really enjoyed it. And it's nothing but praise on it. But I was exhausted. Not only that, but for both setups, I will add, and this is what really killed me, I think, I was standing on plywood stages. There was no other place for me to set up. It was a very old school banquet facility. and they had these stages there that if you bounce too hard, you could watch all your stuff wobble.
Oh goodness. Yep.
And that just standing on plywood like that is exhausting. I don't know if you've experienced that before or not, but it's tough. Takes a toll on your legs and your feet, and my legs still don't feel right after that night.
Yeah, that's that. I've carried the pads with me at every show, and at a couple of these tent weddings, I had to put them on the ground just because the ground was so wet. To stay. It's like, oh, I'm on soil or grass. It's gonna be nice and soft. Yeah, but it's soaked.
That doesn't bother me as much as standing on plywood stages. And getting up and down on them because there's no stairs.
Yeah.
So here crippled me is crawling up and down off these plywood stages.
Oh, yeah.
And that was fun. I did that. Well, let's do the math here. I did it for 10 hours.
Ooh,
plus with setup and breakdown. That would be the plus part. So, yeah, it was a long day, and that's why I was tired. Anybody would be tired.
Yeah,
it's not
certainly.
Because I'm older. It's not because I'm disabled. I think anybody would be exhausted after that event.
That is a long day, and that's one of the few things I envy with some of our friends from the East Coast and West Coast when they're talking about we do a 4-hour wedding reception, and it's like, oh yeah, we do 4-hour dances too. No, 4-hour reception. The guests arrive, it starts, and 4 hours later, it's all done.
Yeah, it's in sunny Southern California.
Yeah, it's and
there's no snow or ice or wet.
Yeah,
it's outside of the vineyard.
Everyone's happy, and everyone kisses everyone else, and it's a great
I'm wearing clothing that looks like it should be like an 80s romance novel. It's all puffy and white and nice and dry because no one's sweating, because there's no such thing as sweat or humidity in these places. Yeah, it's pretty fun to hear those stories, and I really feel sorry for those people when they have to do Friday and Saturday events. Oh my goodness. And they're done at like 8:30 or something like that because of noise ordinances. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here. It's a bunch of Jay Brennan crap. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, take your wimpy weddings and go.
Take your Temecula winery weddings and
Actually had an inquiry from a couple for next summer, and it was one of these where, great, let's talk about your timeline of what have you set so far. Well, ceremony has to be at 3:00 in the afternoon. Great. Okay, so then that means you'll be getting to eat about 5. Yep, great. And what time were you guys thinking the dance? Figuring 7 to 11 with that 2 hour about between. Oh yeah, we're going to start the dance at 7, and we want the dance to go till, because they're in a place that has alcohol till 2 in the morning. 2 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 7 till 2 in the morning. So let's just do the math on this, and it's like, you really think you're going to have? Oh, we will have. I've gotten to the point now with weddings that I will, even if we'll book until 11, but we know we're going to go till. It's like I'm sorry, I'm not the DJ for you anymore. That starts at, because I've got to be there setting up if. Getting in there at 1:30, 2 o'clock, set up, and then the guests arrive, at 3:30, because there's that guest that's like, oh boy, ceremony's over, let's go.
Well, here's one way you could probably get around that. I'm just thinking out loud here, but if you give them a time block and say, look, I tell you what we'll do, 7 to 11. It's a lot of time for dancing, especially after you've had a long day.
Yeah.
But I understand you want to go till 2. So how about this? Let's contract this until 11 o'clock, all right? And then you can book me per hour after that for like $250. But you can make that call on site. You don't have to make that call now. You make that call at 11:15, and if you're done, you're done, and we can just wrap it up. But if you want to go longer, we absolutely can. You just pay it by the hour.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you walk away with a lot more money. And they probably will opt out. And that's, the best case scenario is they opt out, or the even better case scenario is you're feeling it. You go till 2 and you make an extra $750.
Yeah, and that would certainly be an option. But I think
it's a reality thing.
Yeah,
I mean, because that 11 is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. Now, if they go to midnight, okay, you let it go a little longer. That's still an extra $250. But you're only obligated to go to 11. And reality hits them saying, ooh, you know what? Yeah, it would be really cool to wrap it up about now. We're pretty tired. Or maybe the thing to do is not to go to 2, but to leave here and go to that other bar that's open till 2:30 and party with whoever wants to party with us in the bus that's taking us back and forth to the hotel or something. Maybe that's a better option. I don't know. But they'll realize all this stuff that night. Because in the planning stages, there's no reality here with any of these people. They don't get it.
And the looking back to 15, 20 years ago when we were doing weddings, and they would go till 12:01. It was very, I had more end at midnight than ended at 11 or 10, what have you.
Yeah.
Which today, well, let's look at, we would start the dance. It would be the spotlight dances. And once we were done with that, it would be like pulling teeth to get people out on the dance floor. And part of it was because we were saving a lot of the big bangers to play later in the night. And I've gone to a completely different methodology with that, is that once we are done with that, now we're going to
smack them over the head with 2x4s.
Exactly. We're going to get them out there and get them active. And that, was 3 weeks ago at a wedding. They wanted to go till, we were going till 11, and they're like, yeah, we'll probably want to go till 12. And it's like, I think I'm going to have your crowd tired, because we're going to start the dance and we're going to be pushing hard from 7 till 8:30, 9 o'clock. You're going to have most of your guests on the floor. Well, they didn't warm up that way the last time at the wedding. Yeah, but we're going to do things differently. They're going to be engaged during the dinner time. They're going to feel like it's a fun thing, that they're going to be ready to go when that dance floor opens. And, okay, well, let's see. Well, that's exactly what happened. They came, they danced, that dance floor was packed. They were having a great time. And then you get that 10 o'clock thing, and people start doing that thing. And it's like, oh, yeah, it's 10 o'clock. Tomorrow I still want to get to church in the morning, or I got to do this tomorrow. It's like getting beyond 10 o'clock. It's like, you can almost go and watch the video. The dance floor is full. People are having a great time and such. And then it hits that 10, and they start to thin out. And then I'm left with that 15 people there for the last hour and a half.
I'm a midnight guy. I mean, that's just what it is here in my area. And then I see people in the chat talking about 10, 11 o'clock. That's when halls cut them off. Here it's midnight. It's just the way it is. My experience typically is that I'll have a strong start, and then not dead air, or not a dead zone or whatever, but the energy will die for a while.
Yep. And
then at 11, all of a sudden it'll go whoop, and they'll go strong until midnight. So it's almost like they're taking a breather for an hour or so.
Mm-hmm.
From 10 to 11 or whatever, to drink or talk or whatever. They're still, they aren't engaged. And the dance floor is not empty. It's just not as full as it was. But then it spikes. They've had enough alcohol. Okay, now we're drunk. Now we want to do, the cha-cha slide again or whatever. And then you just go hard until midnight. One thing that I saw here is Brian Kay was saying he doesn't understand what we mean by wedding season, because where he lives, he does weddings when it's hot out. He does weddings when it's cold out. So he doesn't understand the concept of wedding season. Mm-hmm. What would you say to that, John?
And I believe Brian mentioned he's from the East Coast in the northern Pennsylvania.
Brian lives in Scranton.
Yeah. In our situation, weddings stopped, and last weekend was pretty much, for second weekend of October is generally kind of the end. There's still going to be a couple. We hit Halloween, and in Minnesota, the weddings completely stopped because we have 2 weekends of deer hunting. Then we have people getting ready for the Thanksgiving. Then we have Christmas. So really, in Minnesota, because of weather and different things, we're done now with weddings. You might there might be a January wedding.
There's a wedding here and there. Yeah. It doesn't mean they're over.
But there's.
Yeah.
We've gone through the schedule, and of course, there's 52 Saturdays in a year type of thing. And you go through those and take out the holidays, and you take out some of the other things. In our markets, we've got generally about 22 potential dates for booking weddings. Is really, I mean, yes, there might be one here, one there, but it's not what it could be. And we've got central Minnesota. We have a very religious community so that time between before Easter is kind of a dead zone. Although there are more people doing things now than there were 10 years ago, it's kind of a slow time. So.
what I'll add to that, and it's very similar here in Wisconsin. But what I will add to that, and not only the holidays kind of interfere, like John said, not only do we have goofy things like hunting season and all that, but the other factor is when you talk about an East Coast, I guess, community, or the people who live on the East Coast, that was settled 250 years ago plus. I mean, those Europeans, they're Americans now. I mean, they're just, they don't even know where they're from half the time. In the Midwest, it's been, and I'm a transplant, so I'm more the East Coast person. My family's been here for over 250 years, so I'm there with the East Coast people. But most of the people who live here, their family came over 100 years ago.
Yeah, yep, for sure.
Well, it's a lot of Germans, a lot of Poles, and I think where you are, it's a lot of Scandinavians. But it's not like they came over here a long time ago. There are pictures of the people who came over here, like photographs.
Yeah.
So it's a relatively new European settlement, or settlement of people from Europe, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
The people who live here haven't just been here since Independence Day. So the culture came with them, and it was a party culture. Religious or not, and they're very religious. Fish fries on Fridays, all that kind of stuff. They still party. Beer is not something that is interfering with their religion.
Yeah,
because they're drinking it. So I think when a lot of people think of religious people, it's like, oh, no alcohol. Oh, no. These religious folks will put them down.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a lot of Lutheran, it's a lot of Catholic, of course, but they drink beer. They party at the drop of a hat. It goes back to the old polka thing.
Yeah.
Right? And it's an interesting period of time when I think a lot of the natives, or no, I shouldn't say, when a lot of the settlers came over here, because, okay, for instance, John, I don't know if I've shared this with you or not, but when I go to Germany, I will tell people Milwaukee is a German settlement.
Sure.
It was settled by a guy named Van Buren, and they're like, well, what kind of culture do you have? Like, well, we say, ja, das ist gut. We speak German. We have German street names. We have German architecture. There's German food. And I'll say, and polka. And they're like, polka? We haven't had polka here for 100 years. Like, exactly. But when the Germans came over here, it was 100 years ago, and they brought it with them, and we still have it.
Yeah, that we do.
So that's our German culture. Although you don't do it anymore. We're not doing BMWs. We're not doing Touch My Monkey. That's not what we do here. We do polka. We do bratwurst, That's our culture. And it's a party, family-oriented culture. It's the even part English culture where it's like the community taverns. They have that in Germany too, where there's like that tavern that the whole family goes there, and you bring the dog too, and it's just where you go. In the days before televisions and radios and things, that's where you went and hung out. We have that still. I mean, John saw it. There's a bar on every corner in my city.
Yep.
That's where I'm living, and that's who our people are. So we do party pretty hard. So midnight is not weird, and partying is not weird, but there are these other things that people have to do. And when they're done, it's back to partying. And yes, we do weddings in January. We do weddings in February, and March. But there are a lot of weddings. For some reason, and this is new, John, I think you'd agree, a lot of weddings in fall.
Yes.
It's kind of the new wedding rush.
Yeah. It used to be June. June was the hottest
month.
month.
It was May, June, through August. But now it starts in August and it wraps in October.
Yeah.
Or early November, depending on where you're at.
Certainly. Yeah. Yeah. This particular year, I had a couple of late October events that had canceled, but last winter, my October was full, and I was having request after request for people like saying, "Hey, are you open at the end of the month? Are you open at the end of the month?" Well, unfortunately, life happens and things fall through. But yeah, it's become a fall barn wedding time. Thanks, Matt. That's exactly where I was going to go with that, is that you've got people who are wanting to be out in the, doing the farm weddings, and they want to be outside in a tent or doing something like that. Because most of the time, like this past Saturday, it was sunny and very little wind, and it was 65 degrees and such. It was just a fabulous day, and we were off because the weekend before I had the last tent wedding of the season, and that was 33 degrees, snow and sleet, and a sideways wind. Oh, that was the coldest I have ever been at a wedding. And
God, you live in the worst goddamn place, man.
Oh, it just was. And then as we're headed across, because we went after that wedding, we ended up driving down to Louisville last week. And as you're headed across Wisconsin, and you're just watching how things are getting warmer, and you can see from the land how the warmer area, and they're able to get their crops in earlier, and how things are different there, because we were so cold and wet this spring. Everything's so far behind, and it's like, wow. There are other places in the world in the upper Midwest that actually can function more than just like 6 or 8 weeks in the summer.
Right.
It's like, that's crazy.
Yeah. I turned down an event for last weekend. And I turned down an event for this coming weekend. And there's a reason for it. And I'll explain. Because I was burnt out.
Sure.
I just couldn't do anymore. B, it was the last weekend was the last weekend that I knew I can get that Mustang out driving around.
Oh yeah.
That was it. And if I'm gigging every single weekend, I have no time to take that car out.
Yeah.
And enjoy it or hit it, whatever. And then next Saturday, or this Saturday coming up, I should say, dude, that's trick or treat, man. And I've made the mistake of gigging on Halloween trick or treat night before, and let me just tell you, man, I like to sleep in my own bed. It's a bad thing when I'm not around for things like that. I get punished, so I don't need that kind of frustration in my life. I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure that I'm home on trick or treat night, so we can run the bubble machine, we can run the fog machine, we can take the video. We can enjoy the fruits of our labor, what we've done outside. Just got to take it. So I did.
And for those of you who are wondering what Brian's talking about, if you go check out the disco porch, the Halloween setup for the disco porch, they've got it decked out and ready to go.
Blanca did a nice job this year, and she did
really good. Yeah, it looks really good.
She did 98% of it. I had very little to say. But I'll go out there on trick or treat night and run some fog and run bubbles, and that'll kind of be icing on the cake. But yeah, that's the reason I took off. I could have just continued to be busy. I'm going to be busy after I get home from the meetup. I've got stuff going on. In fact, I have an event. It's not a wedding, but I have a corporate event that I'm assisting with on the 7th, which is a Thursday night. Mm-hmm. But I'll be doing lighting, and I'll be doing some DJing on that night. We did it last year. I did it with Art. There's 2 rooms, and I got to take care of one of the rooms. So, yeah, it's busy. It's just that time of year. There's homecomings, there's weddings, there are Christmas parties or end of the year parties they have as well. It's a busy season.
Yeah, that it is. And there's in our situation, we had the dances and between homecomings and weddings that all just kind of wrapped up, and it's like we jump right from that into covering trade shows, because this is now trade show time.
Yeah.
And depending upon your industry, there's the fall trade shows before Thanksgiving, and then after January, basically you start with CES, and then you go through really almost to Easter trade show season.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely crazy.
But yeah, we're probably a little different than most people, but yeah, that does indeed happen for us.
Just looking ahead.
Huh?
I'm just looking ahead to trick-or-treating day. If the kids would trick-or-treat Saturday night, the 26th, we've got a projected high of 56 that day, which would be a nice day to get the kids out.
It's probably not much different here. We're high in the mid-60s, and the lows are around 50.
Yeah,
so, but sometimes into the 40s. It was 39 coming home one night when we were putting the front end on the car last week. But that was very late. That was probably 1, 2 in the morning. So yeah, it went from like 83 to like 38 that week. It was just stupid.
Yeah, this is crazy.
It's that time of year. Brian K says, I guess everyone is busy but me. I know Brian does struggle with work sometimes, but with that in mind, I will say this: we are doing that meetup coming up in less than 2 weeks, and the whole idea of this meetup isn't just to get together and slap each other on the back for hello friend. It's about sharing ideas and getting motivation to further your stuff with as a DJ.
Yep.
And Brian and I have talked extensively about a lot of things, and he's come to me and he said, well, I have a problem with this. I said, okay, well, how about this or this or this? And Brian is really good at coming up with excuses why he can't do any of those things. He's an expert at dodging all of these solutions. Not that my solutions are the best, but they are solutions. So I will put this out there for Brian and anybody else coming to this meetup or any other networking event. You have to be open to new ideas or forget it. If you got a problem and you're looking for help or solutions to fix the problem, and you get reasonable, helpful solutions, and you, for some reason, refuse to execute these solutions and put them into play, you got nobody to blame but yourself. That's it. We're here to help. We're here to share. And I'm going to go and be incredibly open at this event. I'm going to listen. There are things that maybe I don't particularly get, or things I'm not really good at or whatever. There's things I'm really good at, but there's things that I'm terrible at. I mean, I'll admit it. I'm going to listen, and I'm going to be open, and I'm going to try some of these techniques that maybe I've never tried before, and maybe can help me become maybe better at what I do as a service provider. You got to be open to ideas. That's just key. You can't just attend. There's not enough to just attend.
Yeah, you really have to. You have to take action. You absorb, you modify the ideas in your head to what would be a better fit for you, because you can't just copy something wholesale, because if you don't have a level of ownership in the idea and make it your own, you're going to be a really, excuse the language, but you're going to be a half-assed copy of somebody else.
I've seen people go to Mobile Beat before, and they bring their partner, or when I say partner, business partner, or maybe their kid. Maybe they're doing this with their kid or whatever, and they go to Mobile Beat for the first time, and they attend all the seminars and this and that, and at the end they're like, I just didn't get anything out of this. It wasn't worth it. I was promised that I'd be able to improve my business, and I don't see it. You got to put the stuff into play, man. You can't just attend. This isn't like at the end of the event you get a certificate that you attended and that's going to do something for you. No, you got to apply this crap. You have to.
Right.
You pick and choose. It's not everything's going to work for everybody, and I totally get that. Totally get that. I have been somebody who has been a very harsh critic on extras lately. Anything extra to me is a chocolate fountain. I want nothing to do with it because I got enough on my plate. And a lot of people are not with me on that. A lot of people swear by the extras and swear by the add-ons and swear by these other things that have nothing to do with DJing but bring them revenue. I just don't have any interest in these things. But that doesn't mean that these things aren't valid and people can't make money at them and people don't want them, and somebody else could be very happy, doing something like this. It's some of this is opinion, of course, and it's all just how do I want to say it? There are a lot of roads that lead to some type of success with what we do. You don't always have to take my path or John's path or anybody's path, but you got to take some kind of path. And if you don't know how to get there and somebody tries to hold your hand and drag you there, don't fight them. Let them help you.
But I think that's human nature, though, Brian, that we're going to we're going to argue for our limitations. And that's we see that a lot. I mean, we've done it ourselves. Is that
Yep.
that
Oh yeah,
it's
I've done it. Sure.
it's easy to do. And
I
it's
think Scott Favor said, and I credit him for it. And he says he's not the guy who said it, but he says if you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's so very true. And unfortunately, we argue to keep those limitations because those limitations make it so we don't have to change and keeps us in this little comfort zone. We don't have to do anything, and we get what we've gotten before. And to a point, that lack of change is scary for a lot of people. You know, putting yourself out there where you have to go out there and you know, live and die on your skills and ability and success or failure. It's sometimes just easier to say, you know, it just doesn't work in my market. No one hires a DJ for over $500 in my market, and you just live with that because anything that you would have to do to change that is going to put you out there, and that's scary. And I get that. It can be a very scary situation, but if you can get through that and you can push through to grow, implement ideas, learn new things to bring to your game. You know, the sky's the limit, truthfully. I mean, you hear DJs from across the country who are in small little markets who are doing very, very well. It may not be a full-time job that they're doing this. They're not bringing in $100,000 a year, but you know, Reggie's a prime example of a success story of Reggie who's gone out there and he's hustled and he's implemented a lot of ideas, and now he's made himself into a situation where he's bringing in some nice side money to their household, which is absolutely fabulous because that's what his goal was. So
it's just it's a strange business we're in. I will say that. But what I will also say is that you know, I can look at things a couple of different ways. If something new gets thrust upon me with what we do, we've been talking about this today, with you know the directing of wedding ceremonies in my case, and the extra long events and the extra hours and all of these things. You know, that's a lot of stuff for one guy to handle. Yeah. I got phone calls today from people I know in this industry, and I just couldn't take them. I looked at the caller ID and I just said, I can't do this today. Mm-hmm. I got too many things to do. I can't talk to this person. And that's not no offense to them or disrespect. In fact, it's respectful for me not to answer the phone because I genuinely don't have time for them.
Right.
But if something came up, and I don't know what it would be, if there was a service or if there was a technique in helping me serve my clients better, and I'm looking at all the time that I'm spending doing everything that I do every day with what I have on my plate right now, and I say to myself, you know what, I don't have time for this. I can't deal with this. I don't have time for it. That might be my initial reaction, but what my reaction should probably be is, how could I make time for something like this? What can I do in my schedule, in my life, to rearrange things where I can make time for this thing that looks like it's pretty valuable? Maybe this is the thing to do. That's the right attitude. You know, I don't always have it, but that's really the way to look at things sometimes, I believe. Mm-hmm. Just be positive and try to make it happen for yourself when you can.
So last week at the event in Louisville, calls are coming in. Calls from DJs are coming in. And the number of times last week that I looked at that phone and did the same thing, it's like, I just can't deal with this person right now.
I was driving down the road, and I was just taking care of family stuff today. I had to get Luis to a doctor's appointment. We had to do some grocery shopping. It was very windy today, like really windy here. Mm-hmm. And do you remember the Hone Bridge, that really tall bridge that you can see all downtown and all that crap on?
Yeah.
Did we go on the Hone Bridge at all?
I know of it. I don't know if I went with you, but I
was on top of the Hone Bridge, white knuckling it, because I'm getting hit by really, really cold, like 60-mile-an-hour winds, and my truck's all over the road like this. Jim Baxter from Colorado Satellite calls, and I look at the phone and I'm like, no, Jim, not today, not right now. Not right now. I got to get to a doctor's appointment. I got to keep my truck on the road. I cannot take my hand off the wheel to press hello and even do hands-free with you right now. I'm thinking about too many other things. We'll have to talk another time.
Yeah,
I did that. I mean, and I had to. It's like, enough.
Yeah,
It's kind of the cool thing and the crap thing about cell phones.
yeah.
Really, in the old days, if you were home, you answered it. If you weren't home, well, he's not home. He can't answer the phone.
Yep, exactly. You just
Now you need an excuse not to answer the phone.
let it ring 12 times. Wasn't it 12 times you're supposed to let it ring and then you hang up?
Yeah.
Something like that. And now if it rings 3 times, we're hanging up. 1, 2, 3, go! They're not
What?
there.
No.
They're not in tonight. Oh, yes. So we'll be in 2 weeks from yesterday.
Yeah.
We will be at the DJ Meetup, thedjmeetup.com, talking, sharing.
The mobile DJ meetup.
No, the mobile DJmeetup.com. Sorry. That's the website. You guys can go and check that out. I initially was going to be going through step by step, going through how to do Facebook ads, putting together Facebook ads. And through some of the discussions and some of the things that I've been seeing, and even which our discussion tonight actually kind of cemented that, is we're still going to talk about Facebook ads, but I think I'm going to really kind of simplify the whole system down to something that someone doesn't have to be hugely into the Facebook world to be able to be successful in creating ads, because a lot of the people that are coming to see us at this event aren't the people who are there and have this unlimited amount of time to learn how to do Facebook ads. They need something that they can use quick, easy, get in, get out, and have some success.
Quick and easy. I mean, anything quick and easy is wonderful.
And with the marquee show in July, I went through the in-depth part, and you guys can go check that out. It's there. Not going to do that. I will still go through and show you how to do some things and be effective. Will it be as effective as going in and doing it in depth and being that person? No, it's not going to be that as effective. Will it still be successful enough where you can turn that $50 into a handful of leads that could lead to business? Yes, it will definitely do that. So it's a evolving thing. So really, and not to pick on Brian by any means, Brian K, but you're the person I'm putting this together for, is because I want you to be able to take something like this, take that $10 and turn that $10 into some leads and into some money. I don't want to have it so that you're running a $150,000, $200,000 DJ business each year, and you're going to want to take it from $200,000 to $300,000 by using Facebook ads. Those folks can go hire someone to do this, or they have the time and resources to be able to dedicate 2 weeks to go learn it themselves. Go for it. I want to be able to have someone like Brian come in there. I'm going to take you from here to here, and it's going to show you how to be successful. And hopefully after you've been successful here, that will allow you to be able to, down the road, spend more time, whatever, have the money and resources to do it. But let's just make that one baby step to make you a better, more effective marketer without breaking the bank. So we'll see how well it goes.
It's going to be an interesting meetup. I'm going to go a really weird direction with my kid.
Really? You would go a weird direction?
Yeah.
This is shocking to me.
No, it's going to be more of a discussion than a lecture. I'll do a little monologue at first, and then I'll just kind of, make it more free form. I do have an outline, though. But basically, it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier, I guess. What do mobile DJs do anyway? Mm-hmm. The wedding edition. So, like we were talking about at the top of the hour, I always wanted to say that. At the top of the hour, we were talking about how in the old days we'd show up and we'd play for 4 hours and we'd get out of there. But now we got all these other things that are kind of piled up upon us. It's kind of what I want to talk about. What do we do? A lot of people just think of us as the people who play music, but we're doing these other things. But what I'm going to do, too, because it's who I am, I can't help myself. I'm going to talk a lot about the music part.
Sure.
Because that's the part I really like. Mm-hmm. Not because it's really necessary for this conversation, but because I enjoy this part. So So I'm talking a lot about how I program and the types of things that I think about when I program, and the types of people that I'm playing for, and the types of things I'm thinking about when I pick songs for certain groups of people. It should be fun. I'm looking forward to presenting this. It's kind of like stuff that you just intuitively know, but to actually write it down is difficult to explain it to somebody else. If that makes any sense at all.
I think it does. I think it does, and
Yeah.
it's probably one of those things that when I first started training DJs, I thought that I could teach these things. These were the
Right.
intuitive things that you and I have. That it's like,
It's
oh
in
yeah,
your head.
yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, I should be able to tell everyone, and you know
Yeah.
and no, it doesn't.
It's like, what is love? I don't know.
I can't explain it. I can't define it,
It
but
just is, you
I
know.
know it when I see it. And
Yeah. So it's been a challenge, but I think I've got some really good analogies that I can throw out there to help kind of express some of the things that I'm feeling or thinking about, and it should be interesting. I have never done a presentation quite like this.
excellent. I'm
So
looking
it should
forward
be
to it.
cool.
I'm looking forward to. By the way, we're going to do a 3-person show with Ben, you and I, at some point in time during our time together in Allentown.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what we're going to talk about,
Go ahead.
but we will talk about something. So
Talk about something.
go ahead.
I was going to mention that at the meetup, I just heard yesterday, and the information, I still don't have it all like completely cultivated in my head and understand exactly how it's going to work. But there's actually going to be a contest on who has the best idea for mobile DJs. And I think there are going to be like 4 people who are going to present their ideas to the audience. And the winner, I'm not even sure how the winner is going to be determined, but there will be a winner. And there's going to be prizes involved at the meetup.
I'm going to win it. And my idea is going to be that you will be doing cocktail music with Huey Lewis music exclusively, and it's going to win.
Yes.
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 I won. You guys,
You won. You're done, man. All you have to do is get the Vitamin String Quartet to do like Power of Love. And
yeah, you guys, you don't have a chance, so you might as well not even bother, because I might even bring my Huey Lewis sports album in as a prop. Would that be awesome?
I will not be participating, by the way. It's not fair. And I'm not saying that I have the best ideas. I have the best ideas. I know the best people. No, I'm not that guy. I'm obviously not that guy. But I'm going to be very interested in what you guys come up with.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what they put together and how that all comes together.
You know who I really want to hear from at this show? Somebody I never heard of before, someone I don't know. I want to hear their new, fresh idea that I've never heard before. I don't want to hear the same regurgitated stuff. I want to hear somebody hit me with something that's just, wow. You know?
Sure.
And that's what's fun about these shows. Sometimes it's not the hour-long presentation or seminar you sat through. Sometimes it's just that guy you ran into on the way to the bar who had this brilliant idea, and it changed the way that you do business, or that you entertain, or that you set up, or that you whatever. It's always that little dumb thing that you never thought of that just changes a lot of what you do.
And yes, we've had those experiences.
It's neat.
It is.
It's really neat. That's the fun part for me anyway. I enjoy that.
Yes. Looking forward to that. So you guys can go to the mobiledjmeetup.com, and that will take you out to the event page, and you guys can check that out. And if you have any questions, you reach out to Brian and myself, and we will basically,
refer you to Owen or Dawn.
Yeah, pretty much say one of the other guys. But hey, you can reach out to us, because we can be completely clueless.
You know where to find us.
Yeah, we're easy to find. So, well, Brian, let's wrap things up. Thank you guys for being with us across the internet tonight. I had a nice crowd, nice chat room, and next week, Brian, Tuesday night is going to be kind of the open night. So we'll figure out exactly who's going to be chatting and how we're going to do that. But yeah, it's more of an open chat week, and because we're at the end of the month.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then the week after, we'll be coming to you guys from Allentown as a trifecta of intelligence. I like that.
Blanca says, where you go? I shouldn't tell this story.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't.
Oh my God. She says, where are you going? I said, Allentown. She says, Allentown, where's that? I said, it's in Pennsylvania. She says, say hi to Dracula for me. Like, what? He does reckon he's from Pennsylvania. Like, no, honey. He's from Transylvania.
A little farther.
Where the hell is that? Well, it's in Romania. Well, where the hell is that? It's in Europe. It's like by Ukraine and shit. It's over there. I thought he was from Pennsylvania. No.
It might be.
Where do you think the accent came from? Well, I thought he talked like that because the teeth in his mouth were making him sound funny. I didn't say this. I didn't share this information with you, but I thought I'd go ahead and
Yeah,
just
great. Well, as we were saying earlier, Brian will be there for Halloween, but he's going to be sleeping on the couch for the next few days.
On the couch for the next few days.
All right. Thank you guys for being with us. We will catch you tomorrow night. We've got another photo booth show, and then we've got Jeremy and Dave coming up tomorrow evening at 10 o'clock. Catch you then. Good night, everybody.